I've had a bunch of people in my comments or in my Tumblr inbox asking, hey, is your art 2D or 3D? And I'm here to answer that today. So, short answer, this is all 2D animation done in Live 2D. Long answer, I'll give you a little breakdown on my process. So I'll normally start out with just my sketch in Krita. Krita is my drawing program of choice. I love it. I love it. I'm not actually on my tablet right now. I'm on my main monitor, but whatever. So it's a little skewed, but this is my Krita setup. Love it. I've got the orange and the dark gray. Oh, such a good color combo. And I'll just sketch the characters out, whoever I'm drawing. Maybe in this point, like this, it's gonna be some pretty gay shit, but whatever. I'll just sketch out the characters and I'll have the references for the characters. If you don't know how to do this in Krita, just as an example, when you copy a file from, say, the web, and you want to import it as a reference image on Krita, just make sure you have this little pin icon selected, and then you can paste it and you can move it around. This won't be a layer, this won't end up in your finished drawing. It's just going to be there, and it's lovely because you can color pick from it and move it around anywhere. I said that, but whatever. So, for example, if I were to drag and drop from my files, you can just do this and you press insert as reference image. So, I know a lot of people didn't know how to do that and were curious. So yeah, it's just pretty easy. After I have my reference images set up, I'll make my sketch and I will go in. This is the part that people find a little weird. But I select this line tool right here and this brush. So this brush is like an automatic fill. It's very nice. I love working with it. I've got a lot of stuff open right now. It's lagging a bit, but it's usually not this slow. I have a pretty beefy PC, so she's able to run it pretty quickly. But if you don't, you may have issues with Krita. Krita does have issues on slow computers, but whatever. That's not what I'm here for. So I'll just select my colors, and the big thing when animating in Live 2D, you may have seen VTubers do this before. You're going to have to separate every single part onto a separate layer. This is a group of layers. That's all that's inside of it. We've got all the different feathers and the actual big wing parts, because I didn't need the separate feathers for the big wing parts. But you're gonna need to draw every single part separately. I'm just gonna go in with my line tool and done. Hand. There's a hand. There's the palm of the hand. And I'm just going with my next color. There's my thumb. And so when I'm done with laying out all the base colors like this, I will just go in with the rectangular selection. Sometimes I'll use an airbrush, sometimes I won't, and I'll just brush on the color that I want to have as shading. Maybe I want it to be a bit lighter, and I can go up here in my blend mode settings and select the blend mode. This is how it'd be, just drawing on top of, but this means you don't have the ability to go back very easily once you've made a lot of stuff. So to be able to edit it again, you can just make a group layer, put it in there, get alpha clipping on, and then you can set this to the blend mode that you prefer. I'm a big color dodge fan. That's where like half my colors come from in drawing. So once I've got everything done, there would be arms here, but I think I opened it all file. I'll import it into Live 2D, and this is the time eaten up part. I just want to go over this real quick. So, the big thing when drawing these, you are going to need to draw the entirety of the part, or at least most of the part. Otherwise, when you have rotations or parts moving, you could have issues with, wait, why is half of this drawing just not there? People might notice that. You don't want people noticing that. But anyways, after I have imported my drawings, so a lot of people say you have to have like every single file separate. You have to have these all saved as separate images. When saving files in Krita, you can just save it as a PSD. So that is a Photoshop file, I believe, and Live 2D will be able to open that. And it will have your blend modes as well, because in 5.3 they added a lot of blend modes, so it should be able to keep your blend modes. This was made in 5.2 because I forgot to update. So once you have all your parts, put in, you'll just select everything and you're gonna go over to the auto button, and this is for your deformation, and you're just gonna click standard. That's what lets you move these little dots separately or together or deformers. It lets your art warp correctly. Once you have everything with its deformers set up, you're gonna go in and you're gonna make a big deformer, and you're gonna put everything inside of that big deformer. So I will link a proper tutorial in the description, because I don't even know where to start when going over all of this. It's a very convoluted thing. But your basic deformers are your rotation deformer. So, you know, you can draw in where you want your rotation. And then I've got that link to that later. But you can basically just rotate everything with it. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. With a warp deformer, it's like a big bounding box. And I'd recommend using this over editing the small little dots. It gives you more ability to change things later on. Some cases, you know, if you know you're not going to need it for anything else, you're not going to need to put any other deformers on something, you can just edit the individual dots. Anyways, so once I have everything set up, so I've got all my rotations set up, I've got all my warp deformers that I'll need set up, I'll go in and I'll start making parameters. This is just like making a VTuber model. So what you can do is you'll press new, make a parameter, maybe type in your name, whatever you want it to be. And when you want to put something in that parameter to be edited by that parameter, you'll just press either this button or this button. This can add 3 points of, I don't know, you can call them like keyframes. This will add like 3 keyframes, this will add 2 keyframes. And you can just put maybe the arm here on one, and it will go back on the other, or you can change it and do whatever. So I'll go through and I'll be like, okay, this is everything I want to move in the animation, and I'll set it up as a parameter. And I tend to, with rotations, a big thing is you don't want to animate just the rotation that you're going to do. You're going to want to go a bit over. So for example, you know, if I just wanted this feather to rotate here and here in 2 separate frames, I would recommend going here and here, just so you have that freedom to change it later if you need to. I like to have like a full body warp. It always looks really silly, but it can add a lot of life when you just have it just set as like a, you know, smaller little thing that happens slowly in the background. People won't notice it, but it kind of gives your animation just a little bit of oomph, I guess you could say. By doing that, you'll just select everything, put it in a warp deformer, and it's like a perspective thing, really. You just have it going in and out, and I'll do the same on the opposite side. So I have like a bunch of different parameters here. These are all used in the animation, some not as much as others. It was genuinely hell to set these all up, but I feel like that's not shocking, really. It's very tiring. And once you have all of this set up, you can go into the animation window, drag your animation in. I like to go with video, and you can now start keyframing. So you'll have all your parameters here, they won't go anywhere, they're exactly where you need them, and you can just set, I want this to be here 1 frame, and I want it to all warp there the next frame. And there you go. Look at that. That looks like shit. Anyways, this is the no armor version, we're gonna ignore that. No, once you have all your keyframes set up, it should look something like this, depending on the complexity of your animation. So this is everything that it took to make this godforsaken thing. And this, oh my god, this animation took me like a few days, because I had to keep redoing it because I wasn't happy with it. I'm not the best animator, but that's okay. I was having fun with it anyways, so that's fine. So you're gonna go ahead, set everything up, and you might be wondering, oh, how do you get that camera movement? This will be in placement and transparency. You can change where the object moves, or you know, your model. So you'll see they'll add a keyframe right there. And I just applied it to the background. I just copied and pasted it from here. Just took that and I put it down here. And there you go. Though you'll notice this is a bit more zoomed in. I did go in and change the zoomed in frame, so it's a little bit different from just copied and pasted, but I think it was all by the same amount. I think like I just zoomed it in by 600 pixels or something like that. So yeah, after that, I'll just go in, you know, I'll export it as a bunch of images. If I want to go in, I was gonna do this originally with this animation. I was gonna go in, I was gonna add rim lighting, I was gonna make it a little more snazzy. I wasn't bothered. I was really sick when I made the original one, and then I was requested to make this one. I was like, okay, well, I'll just jam it out. I can't be bothered, really. I'm a very tired person. But yeah, I'll just go and I will export it as a still image sequence. I'll pick my file location. I'll, you know, change how many frames I want. I'll change the aspect ratio, and I'll just render it. And you know what you can do after you have all that done? You can put it in Resolve, my favorite. So I'm going to use this animation as an example. Because I actually put rim lighting in this one. Ooh, how fancy. What you can do after you have your image sequence in Resolve, make sure you're just on this tab, select all the images and drag them in, and it'll import it as a video for you. It will have the frame rate of the project file. But you know, generally it's gonna be fine. So here's the actual animation. I went into Fusion to set up the rim lighting, and this is, oh, I feel like there's probably a more efficient way to do this, but I'm not exactly the brightest. I basically just have here, this is just the shadow. I've got it going through a blur, and then it goes back into the merge and makes it look all nice. Here we have the rim lighting, so you can see that just there. I've gone through, you know, I've just taken the alpha and I've moved it around. I've taken the alpha again, I've moved it around. And this is the same thing, just with a blur on it, and then I combine them into each other, and I just put that into the final animation. And it looks great-ish. I would have loved to do this to the ultra kill animation, but you know, there you go. There's the longer answer. Here's my process. I just draw things. I just used gradients. I do 3D stuff from time to time, but this isn't 3D. Most of my animations aren't 3D. You'll find I use 3D for backgrounds sometimes, but usually it's work stuff. I just wanted to say thank you so much for sticking around until the end. This is my first time making a video like this in a very long time. Most of my other stuff on my channel is just animations, but if that interests you, please feel free to check it out. Some of them are on the older side, but that's okay. And if you want to see more videos like this, maybe leave a comment with a question about my process, or if you want a more in-depth tutorial, I'd love to make something like that. Okay, see you all next time. Thank you!